Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Katie Starr and Qult's guide on how to build a tower on Tower of Babel. Because let's be real, you guys suck at building a tower on Tower of Babel. Qult sent me this guide with all these pictures and videos and asked me to put it together into a video so he can send it to people. And here we are. So, what are we doing here? What's the point? We need to build a tower to get us to heaven at the top of the map. It's about 60 blocks from the ocean level to the top of the map. So that's the maximum we're going to have to build. Realistically, it might be less than that, depending on if the map has got, terrain or maybe houses that you can build off. When we're up the top, we need to pick up the intel from the platform. Obviously, this is how we win the game. We need to return the intel to our tent. For the love of God, please do not pick up the intel, walk to the other end of the platform and start sniping people while you're holding the intel. You're going to get killed, the intel's going to get further away from our side, and even worse, closer to their side. So if they're almost at the top, they're going to snag it, and we're not going to have anything that we can do about it, because your dumbass has left the intel too far away, and we can't get to it in time. So, when you've got the intel, please don't go and snipe, just come back down. It's not rocket science. If you want to snipe from the platform, go for it, but don't pick up the intel, please. So, we bring the intel back down, and we repeat that another 10 times, because that's how we win the game, is by capping 10 intels before the enemy team does. So, how do we build a tower? We need 3 things primarily. A comfortable and secure staircase that's easy to go up and come back down again. We need a railing to protect people from sniping the builders and the climbers from the sides. And also, this might be a little bit counterintuitive, but your tower needs to look okay. It doesn't need to be a work of art. We're not building the Mona Lisa here. But if you've got a tower that looks better, that looks more neat and looks easier to A, to build and B, to climb, people are more likely going to do those things. If you build a complete trash heap of a tower, we'll see one at the end. People don't want to climb that. People are going to build their own tower or just not bother. People aren't going to help you build it. They're going to start their own because they think, your tower's shit. I'm going to build my own tower. When everyone builds a tower, we lose, basically. So, here is a standard tower. This is what you want to see in a tower, right? It's neat. It's tidy, and it has the 4 important parts that you need, which are the protective wall, the stairs, column, and the solid wall. So, in order of importance, the stairs, you need to get up and you need to get back down. You can pillar up, but when you pillar up, you got to dig all the way back down again when you've got the intel, and the more time you're exposed, the more likely you are to get shot. You need to get up and get back down as fast and as safely as you can. The column, then. The column helps the builders. The column is a defensive structure which reinforces the tower and it protects the builders from incoming fire from the enemy team. They can't build if they're dead. You can't cap the intel if you're dead, and you certainly can't cap the intel if no one's built a tower because they're dead. Then we have the solid wall. The solid wall is the most boring part, let's be real, but it's also one of the more important parts because it prevents SMG fire and diggers from being able to destroy the tower. Now, if you haven't got a solid wall and you've just got a thin little column and a crappy little set of stairs, then if someone's hiding in those trees in the back, they can probably take it out with an SMG before you have time to react. If someone's digging at the front and you've got a tower like that, same thing. They're going to dig it out before you have a time to react and deal with them, which isn't going to work. And lastly, you need the protective wall or the railing on the side, and this prevents people from shooting your climbers and your builders from the side, which obviously is a problem because, again, if they're dead, they can't build and they can't collect the intel. So, let's start with the column. Here is an example of a wide column. Now, a wider column is often better because it, A, provides more structural stability for the platform, or for the stairs, sorry, it's harder to destroy, and B, it provides more defense. They have to get further around the side to be able to shoot your builders. And obviously, as we've said a million times already, if you're dead, you can't build. So, let's have a look at how to build some kinds of walls. So here's our first video. So in this video, we are going to see a simple technique for constructing the wall. Now, the difficult part about this is those couple frames you have there, there, where you have to stick your head up. Now, if you're sticking your head up, you can get shot. Now, that's why this technique is the best if you're building this kind of wall, because you're only up for a couple frames. But something you might need to bear in mind is if there's someone particularly smart on the other team who's looking at you, they might get used to the rhythm of how you're building and time their shot to kill you. Not likely, but it could happen, and it's something you need to be aware of. You don't want to get killed on this, because if you do, you're going to have to build your way back up again to get back to the top. Obviously, not what you want. Next clip. So, in this clip, we're trying a different strategy. We're building a wall with defense at the side. You might have noticed in the previous one that someone could have shot you from the side. In this one, that's not going to happen, because you're building this nice sort of U-shaped defensive structure. The same thing applies, of course. In that one frame there, you might get shot, which obviously you don't really want. You know, it's just not gonna work. So, let's have a look. Next clip. This is how you build a wide wall. Oh, that's an important thing to mention. When you're building a wall, your column, your start of your tower, you need to build it directly under the edge of the platform. Any further forward, and it's going to be under the platform and it's going to be useless. Any further back, and the top end of your stairs are going to be left hanging with nothing to support them, which makes them an easy target to get shot down by the enemy team. Something that's worth remembering as well is that the wider your tower, the more cover that provides for enemies who are trying to get close to your base. Not something you particularly want. In this tower, we're building little ledges as we climb up to make it easier. It takes longer, but it's also going to be a bit more secure. Now then, what have we got next? Here we go. The stairs, probably the most important part of building the whole thing. So, there are a couple ways of doing this. You're going to want to start building this after the column's about 10 blocks high. What you want to do is sort of alternate between building the column and building the wall. So start by building the column at the beginning of the match, then go back to start building the stairs, and then so on and so on and so on. If you build a wall in the way that I'll show you in this video, your stairs will just automatically, magically appear, and you won't have to worry about it. You shouldn't build stairs like in this picture. Why? Because they're not really attached to the ground. All it would take is a couple guys sneaking in with their SMGs or their spades, and that whole thing is going to come tumbling down. And it ain't going to work. So, let's have a look. Here's a way you can build the wall. So, this is slow. It's not an amazing way to build a wall. It does work. If you've got a giant wall at the front, this one's probably a little too thin. If you've got a giant wall at the front, this'll work. You know, we're getting there. And since we've got infinite blocks, doesn't really matter. But the problem with this is the higher up you get, the easier it is for the enemy team to shoot you. I mean, we're only 5 blocks up here and we're already super exposed. It would be so easy to get sniped by someone on the opposite team. Even if we're on the other side of the river, it would be pretty easy to get sniped. So, let's have a look at another technique. This is building a wall in diagonal layers, which is a much better way because it's pretty good at expanding the width of an already finished tower. You can do this from the bottom, you can sort of build these on top of everything. Later in the video I'm going to show you how to build these without getting the stairs kind of offset from each other. That's one of the things that makes the tower really annoying to climb up and down. So we'll have a look at that later and I'll show you how to avoid it. This way can be quite slow, but it's also pretty good if you want to build a protective wall around a tower that you've already built. Now, the way that Qult recommends, and quite frankly, I agree with Qult, is this. The thing is, what we're going to do is we're building sort of small sections at a time. What this means is, A, if we get shot, we're not going to lose all of the time that we spent putting out the wall and climbing up and down and all the rest of it. It's also much faster. I mean, look how much quickly we're getting up. It's much quicker. You don't have to walk around. Anytime you're walking is time you're not placing blocks. So, this is a much better way of building your tower. It's the fastest way to build the tower, is to sort of do it in steps. So build up to a ledge, like we've seen in this clip. We've got the column already built, and we're going to build up to the ledge at the top of the tower. So we're getting about halfway up, and then we can just repeat. We can build a new ledge, and we can keep working our way up. You got multiple people working on this, you're going to be on the top in no time. I mean, hell, a rocket couldn't get you to heaven as fast as this. So, as we can see, we're sort of moving this ledge up, and yeah. So, let's have a look at what we've got next. So, as you can see, we're just still building it up. And as you can see, it provides pretty decent cover for anyone that's coming from the side, which is also a tactical advantage. You've got a lot of space to move around, but you can also use those diagonal blocks in front of you to protect yourself, which obviously is a good thing. If you get shot, you're dead. And if you're dead, say it with me, you're not building. So, you can build a double staircase, which is kind of like this. And this works fairly well. So for the first sort of half of the staircase, we're building at a nice 45-degree angle. One block up, one block forward, one block up, one block forward. The second half of this tower, we've got a different strategy, 2 block up, 1 forward. Now the difference here, of course, is that with the 1 up, 1 forward, you can just walk up it, but with the 2 up, 1 forward, you've got to jump, basically. It's also slightly more difficult to get down, in my personal opinion, but that might just be me. It works. It's not a terrible idea. I like them. They work. And the advantage of building the 2 up, 1 forward is that it's faster. But you shouldn't build this for your whole tower, and the reason why is because it makes the whole thing half as thick, which means it's twice as easy to destroy. So, what we've got going on here is a column. You can see it right at the start. You've got a column with a couple half-assed attempts at a staircase. What's going on here? This is really, really weak, and any enemy could come along and shoot that out with, maybe 2 magazines worth of SMG fire. We don't want that. It's shit. So, what you can do is you can just build a staircase. If you build one really quickly like this, you can get up, connect it to the buttress, and secure the whole thing. The problem with this, you might get shot, let's be real, and it's only going to take 2 blocks to knock this down. But if you get knocked down off this, it's not such a big deal. I'm not personally sure that I would recommend doing it like this instead of focusing on a more secure and sturdy structure, but it could work. If you're in a pinch, if the other team's up 7-2 or something, it could work. Now, Qult says that it's easier to build a staircase like this using the client's Voxlap and OpenSpades, the original client and OpenSpades, because you just need to hold down the button to build a tower like this. But if you're using Better Spades or any of the forks of Better Spades, then it's going to be harder because you've got to click each time. So, let's have a look. Where are we going to put the staircase? Now, what we want to do is build the column right under the platform, as we've already mentioned. So that's going to be, maybe halfway between the grey buildings and the front of our build zone. Where are we going to start the staircase? Probably from where the red line is, which is about 1/3 of the way from the back, or 2/3 of the way from the front. This is where you want to build it, because it's basically going to get you to the top. If the bottom of the map starts at sea level or close enough, this is going to get you to the top. If you're on a map where the land is a lot higher, then this might not work so much. You might need to move the front of the staircase forward. But as a general rule of thumb, it's not bad. It's not bad. So, let's have a look at some problems. Here, we've had a look at this image already, and we're going to discuss it again, because it's shit, Why is this shit? Because you've got no protection at the front, so enemies on the opposing tower or on the bridge in the middle very easily take out your builders. Also, there's basically no defense. As we said before, it would only take 2 or 3 players with spades to come in and knock this whole thing down, which is not good. So, one of the things we need to remember is that building a tower like this might seem fast, but when you get to about this point, it's going to take a lot longer to get it finished. Your builders are going to stick their heads up for 2 seconds and get shot. And that's if someone doesn't manage to break in and knock the whole thing down. If you see your team building a tower like this, what should you do? Should you help them? You should, but you shouldn't help them by jumping on their staircase. What you should do is build a column, a nice sturdy wall buttress at the front like we talked. Because then, if they manage to get the staircase up, it'll connect to what we've built already. Your column will help to protect the team from incoming fire, and it will also make your tower more sturdy. If people are building a tower like this, I wouldn't have much hope that you're going to win the game. The tower looks nice, sure, but it's just going to take maybe 2 waves of enemies being handled poorly, and the whole thing is gone. And with it, the game. So, let's have a look. This is how you would build a staircase like this. As I say, we don't really recommend this. It's not a brilliant idea. But if you want to, here is the most efficient way to build a staircase like this. More or less, you want to do it like this. And of course, add your guardrails in afterwards, your railings, to make sure that nobody gets shot from the sides. But can you see the problem with this? Look how exposed you are. You can see the whole map from up here. And if you can see the whole map, it means the whole map can see you. Which, let's be real, is not what you want. So, what's next? Ah, the fast tower. Everyone's favourite from the days when we had limited blocks. So, it's easy to build. You can build a pillar like that, 20 blocks high, in seconds. You're also going to get shot a lot doing it. And what you need to do is sort of connect it with these lines as you're going up. But it's not going to work, and here's why. Realistically, how many blocks do you actually need to take out to knock this whole thing down? Maybe 8, maybe 10? Someone do the math, put it in the comments section. It's something like that. Any map where you can get behind or to the sides of the players, this isn't going to work. This is a stupid idea. If you're playing on a map like Pinpoint, on the other hand, where you can't really get to the side or behind the opposing team, this could work because they can't shoot it out from the sides. It still isn't an amazing tower to build just because it is very weak. One guy with an SMG behind could take this whole thing down before anyone realizes where he is. You could help. It could be salvageable. You could improve the column. You could fill in some of the gaps in the middle. It's not terrible. It's also not great. So, keep it tidy. We talked about this before. We're going to talk about it again. A tidy tower is easier to ascend and descend. Because of the weird way that physics works in this game, if you're falling, you ain't moving forward. And if you're not moving forward, you're not really getting the intel any closer to the tent. So what you want is a tidy tower that is, you're not falling too much. You know, you need to be able to go straight forward always. As we've discussed, building a nice, tidy tower is the best way to do that. And also, the psychological effect. The better looking your tower is, the more likely players are going to want to help build it, to help reinforce it, or to climb it to get the intel. You got to remember, Tower of Babel is a team game. You know, this isn't free-for-all arena or whatever the hell. This is Tower of Babel. We're supposed to work together as a team of 16 to do this. If your tower is shite, everyone's going to build their own tower. And if everyone's working at cross purposes, you're never going to get any intels, let alone 10 of them. What you need is a nice, tidy, strong tower. And this is how you get people helping you out. Get people going up. Get people getting the intel and scoring points and winning. Work together. Building a nice, tidy tower has the effect of making people want to help you. So, let's have a look. One of the things you might struggle when you're making a tower is this. You're thinking, okay, I'm just going to build up some new rows and oh dear, it's all offset by 1 block. This is really annoying because it prevents you from easily being able to go down the tower. If you're building a guardrail, sure, this will work. But when you're just trying to re-extend the stairs, this is a stupid idea. Here's how you do it right. Put it 1 block forward, like that. And don't put it to the back block, put it 1 forward. See, if you put it on that block, you get that extra block that's coming up, which you don't want. It's no good. We want something nice like this. And look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. It's nice and flush. It's aligned. It works. And it's fine. Here's how you build it down, because you might need to do that as well. Perfect. Go one block under the block in front. And you'll build it nice and flush. Look at that. Absolute beauty and perfection. Here's a tower gone wrong. Let's have a look at this. What map is that? Bin Laden compound, I think? This team lost. And why? Why did this team lose? So, we've got maybe 3 or 4 different attempts at building a tower here. You got that one in the front that kind of looks a bit like a church. You've got the really long one at the back left, that's built way too far back. And you've got the strange sort of thing at the side. So, let's have a look at this in more detail. The church structure at the front. This is a nice sort of pillar that's kind of being built there. That would be good if it had been finished, it had been taken up, and if it had been supported by stairs. Decent. The stairs at the back, they're looking pretty good, you know? They're nice and thick. They're smooth, so it's easy to get up and down. Problem is, they've built them way too far back. Remember before when we said we needed to build the start of the stairs roughly 1/3 of the way into our build zone from the back? That has not happened at all, has it? They're miles away. So what goes wrong here is that when they finally get to the height of the platform, they've got to build a really long way forward. Not only does that take time, but it also provides a vulnerability to the tower. That entire section can just be snipped clean off by someone stood underneath with a machine gun. And when you're up there, you can't see that guy. Suddenly, you know, you're building and suddenly the whole thing just falls and you die. It's not going to work. The one in front, little better, still started a bit too far back, but you can clearly see that there's a nice column built at the front of this staircase. But what's the biggest problem that's happened here? It's that everyone's not working together. Everyone's building their own separate towers. You can see, how many people can you actually see in this screenshot? 4, 5? And they're all working on different things. You've got someone working on the column at the front, you've got someone in the back standing around looking at all that mess of red blocks, and you've got 2 people on the top who are building the platform. They probably aren't building the platform, they're probably using it to snipe. Which is not what you should be doing with the tower. You need to build it to the platform to get the intel. Anyway, what have we learned? Oh, by the way, these guys lost. I don't know if you could tell, but these guys lost. What have we learned? You cannot win Babel without a good tower. That is the point of the game, is to build a good tower, get your intel, get it back down. If you've got a shit tower, then you've got shit chance of winning. A tower needs a staircase, a column at the front, railings on the side, and you also need a wall underneath as well. Keep it looking tidy, as we've discussed. Tidy tower means more people are more likely to help you, are more likely to go up it, are more likely to reinforce it, etc, etc, etc. And most importantly, work together. That's the most important thing about this entire game. There's a team of 16 and we got to work together to get the intels back down. And that's it. It's not that difficult. It really isn't that hard. And yet, every single match I play, I see someone doing something stupid with the tower. I don't know what to say, guys. Like, if you can't build a tower with everyone else, there's no hope for you. But, if you see someone who's building a shite tower, show them this video. And, you know, maybe they'll learn something. Maybe not. Doesn't matter. But this is what you should do.